The holding bay smelled like recycled air and fear. Veth Ka, third acquisitions officer of the Drovani Collective, stood at the observation window and watched the 12 small humans pace their enclosure. He had expected stillness, resignation, the way most species behaved when separated from their kind and confined in unfamiliar space. Instead, the human young were building something. They had disassembled the heating coils from 2 sleep mats, bent the metal strips into a rigid frame, and were now weaving fiber from a torn uniform into a flat panel. The oldest one, perhaps 11 or 12 rotations by human reckoning, was directing the others with quiet, precise gestures. No shouting, no panic, just focused, efficient construction. Veth Ka did not know what they were building. That bothered him more than he expected. "They have been awake for 6 hours," said crew technician Dorva, stepping up beside him. "They slept in shifts, 2, always watching." "Watching for what?" "Us, I assume." Veth Ka clicked his mandibles. The acquisition had been clean. A settlement transport vessel, lightly armed, traveling through the outer belt of the Cressian expanse. The adult humans had been sedated and left aboard their ship. Only the young had been taken 12 specimens between the ages of 7 and 13. The Drovani Collective paid extraordinary sums for juvenile xenospecimens. The emotional complexity of young minds during development produced neurological data that no adult subject could replicate. It was standard practice. It was also, Veth Ka was beginning to understand, a profoundly stupid decision. The call came through 4 hours later. Veth Ka was reviewing transit routes when Dorva burst into the navigation chamber with every crest plate on her head standing rigid, the Drovani equivalent of a face drained of color. "There is a vessel," she said, "dropping from Fold Transit, 140 kilometers, and closing." Veth Ka pulled up the sensor feed. The ship was human-built, that much was clear from the drive signature, but it was not a transport. It was not a patrol cruiser. It was not even a military escort. It was a warship. Not a large one by Galactic standards, perhaps 600 meters, but it was moving at a velocity that suggested the captain had not slowed down during fold exit, which meant either the navigation system had failed or the pilot simply had not cared about the structural risk to his own vessel. "Open a channel," Veth Ka said. The face that appeared on the screen was a human male, mid-aged by their reckoning, dark hair going gray at the temples. His expression was not the controlled fury Veth Ka had expected from a military officer. It was quieter than that, more careful. That was worse. "This is Commander J10 of the VSF Times Ironwall." His voice was level, conversational, the tone a person used when they had already decided the outcome and were only performing the courtesy of announcement. "You are holding 12 children from the Colony Transport Times, Mireille. You will return them unharmed in the next 30 minutes, or I will reduce your vessel to a debris field and spend the rest of the afternoon looking for the pieces." Veth Ka spread his acquisition forelimbs the Drovani gesture for professional neutrality. "Commander, I understand your concern, but you are one vessel, and the children are unharmed." O said, "I know. My sensors confirm life signs. All 12. I appreciate that." A pause. "It won't change what happens if you don't return them." "You would fire on a vessel holding your own young?" "I would fire on a vessel holding my own young after evacuating my own young, yes." Commander O tilted his head slightly. "You have 30 minutes. I'd start moving." The channel closed. Veth Ka immediately convened his officers. There were 6 of them in the acquisition team. They were professionals. They had handled contested extractions before. "He is bluffing," said Weapons Officer Kren. "No commander fires on a vessel holding children of his own species." "Human commanders have done exactly that," said Navigator Yis quietly. Everyone looked at her. She was the only one among them who had studied human military history in any depth. There are 14 documented cases in the last 2 centuries where human military units conducted operations that resulted in the deaths of human civilians, including children, in order to prevent greater harm or deny resources to a hostile force. They call it a doctrine. They have a name for it. They argue about it in their philosophy texts. She paused. They argue about it a great deal. But they do it. Silence. He is not bluffing, Yis said. Kren's crestplates flattened. Then we use the children as a shield. He will not fire if. He will fire and then mourn them, Yis said. That is the part you are not understanding. He will mourn them for the rest of his life. He will attend their funeral rites. He will look their parents in the eyes. And he will have done it anyway, because the alternative in his assessment was worse. The chamber was very quiet. Vethka turned back to the observation window. The oldest child had finished the construction project. It was a signal mirror, flat woven fiber, stretched over the metal frame, angled to catch the bay's overhead lighting. The child was holding it up toward the camera, mounted in the corner of the enclosure. She knew the camera was there. She had known for hours. She was not trying to signal the camera. She was trying to signal through it. She was trying to send a message to whoever might be watching from outside the ship. Vethka felt something move in his chest that he did not have an immediate name for. Open the enclosure, he said. The transfer happened with 22 minutes to spare. Commander O's shuttle docked hard and fast. No ceremony, no waiting. The bay doors opened, and 2 human soldiers in full tactical gear moved through first, sweeping positions with the economical efficiency of people who had done this in worse conditions. Then O himself stepped through. He was not a tall man. He was not physically imposing, but the children moved toward him like a tide. The oldest girl, Su-yun, Veth-ka, would later learn her name, walked straight to him and said something in Korean that the translation unit rendered as, "We knew you would come. We were ready to help." O put one hand on her shoulder, briefly, and said something back that the unit rendered as, "I know, you did well, all of you." Then he looked up at Veth-ka. "I want to understand something," O said. His voice was the same as it had been on the channel level. Careful, not loud, not for any official purpose. "I just want to understand." He gestured at the children behind him, already being shepherded toward the shuttle by his soldiers. "What did you think was going to happen? Did you believe there was a version of this where we did not come for them?" Vethka considered the question seriously. It deserved a serious answer. "Most species," he said slowly, "perform a calculation, risk versus resource. The young of most species are valuable, but the cost of pursuit is also weighed against other factors: trade routes, political exposure, the mathematics of acceptable loss. And you applied that calculation to us." "We did." O was quiet for a moment. "We don't work that way. I understand that now." "No," O said, and there was something in his voice that was not anger and not contempt, something almost like instruction, the way a teacher sounds when correcting a fundamental misunderstanding. "I don't think you do. Not yet. You think it's an emotional response, a cultural override of the calculation." He shook his head. "It's not. It times the calculation. Every human commander, every parent, every soldier who has ever existed has run the same numbers and come to the same answer because we decided, a very long time ago, that a species which abandons its children to avoid cost is a species that has already lost everything worth protecting." He held Veth-ka's gaze for exactly 3 seconds. "Don't take human children," he said. "Not because we will destroy you, because you will not survive what we become if you do." He turned and walked back to the shuttle. Veth-ka filed the full incident report with the Drovani Collective 3 days later. He included O's statement verbatim. He included Navigator Yis's historical analysis. He included his own observation notes on the children in the enclosure, the shifts, the signal mirror, the quiet construction in the dark. He flagged the file with the highest caution designation the collective system allowed. Then he added a personal notation at the bottom. outside the formal report structure, in the small plain text field that no one usually read. Do not acquire human young, he wrote. They are not afraid of the dark. They work in it, and the adults who come for them are the kind of people who made them that way. He submitted the report and sat for a long time at his desk, watching the stars through the viewport. Somewhere out there, 12 children were going home. He found, to his own surprise, that he was glad.